Hello and welcome to another Starcraft 2 commentary video. This is GomJabbar on Battle.net and Kengo on YouTube. And this is going to be a ladder match between myself, GomJabbar, the red Protoss at the top right of Xel'Naga Caverns, and Eden, the blue Zerg at the bottom left. This is going to be a loss, and it was a loss that kind of puzzled me at the time. It was a pretty subtle loss, I think. And it upset me a little bit at the time. You know, I actually had a really bad ladder day yesterday. I went on like a 6-game tilt, and, well, 3 of those were PvPs, so they barely even count. But, you know, this was the second Zerg I lost to yesterday. The other one was actually a very nice Hydra timing attack on close positions of Lost Temple. Right before my Colossus got out. It was a pretty good build by him. But this one, I felt like I played decently, and I still lost. So we're going to examine why I lost this game, and what I could do better, and, you know, what my opponent did well. So first of all, my general strategy nowadays in Protoss vs. Zerg is in Control's style. He favors a 3-gate expand with mostly sentries to keep you very safe in the early stages of the game. And I'm going to block this hatchery from going down. If you can delay this expansion with a pylon, it's absolutely worth it. So I'm definitely doing that. I do go up here to scout to make sure I'm not getting 6-pooled or you know, an early roach rush or anything crazy. And, you know, I did see some of this stuff going on. So, well, actually, I didn't see the gas and pool, but I kind of have to assume that. Now, he has 2 drones in my base. This was kind of confusing. I figured this was a bit of a mistake by him, because he just let this one follow me. So I try to kill this, but I actually let this one die in second. And this actually throws off my build. I should be throwing a Cyber Core right here, right now, but I can't, because he's blocking it. And I have up to 150 minerals right now, well past the time I should have a Cyber Core. So I'm, you know, trying to deal with this harass. It's getting very annoying. And, you know, he's really thrown off my build. So that's an excellent job that he's done. I'm still actually ahead on the food, though, because, well, if you look at the unit counting station, I'm actually a bit ahead on drones. And he is a little high on the money, so he's threw off his own build a little, too, with that harass. In any case, I threw down a gateway first, and then my Cyber Core, because, well, that was a mistake. I thought, oh, I need another gateway. Oh, I forgot the Cyber Core. So that threw my build off a little, but in, you know, a minute or two, it's going to look just fine. Notice he still hasn't expanded at the 24, well, for me it's 24, for him it's 23 food count, and it's already 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And I see he only has these 3 Zerglings. And I'm going to scout just a little bit more. I'm trying to make sure he's not doing anything really insane. And if you see, I did just see a nice spawning pool, 1 gas. So I'm pretty confident that I'm fine. He only has these Zerglings. And he might do a bit of a Zergling attack, but I'm perfectly safe from that. Warp Gate is actually very late because of that Cyber Core being late. So my build was delayed a bit, and I delayed him, so we're still about even. And if you look at the food count, we're just about exactly even. I have a few more probes, though. Yeah, so as I was saying, my goal is to go 3 gateways, expand with sentries, so I need this double gas very quickly. And once I have about 4 or 5 sentries and this 1 zealot, I'm just going to push down here and expand immediately. It's a pretty fast expansion. And typically, because Zergs tend to be going for that Roach Hydra mix right now, I'm going to be teching up to Colossus and getting a forge for upgrades right after I lay down that expansion. However, this game is going to turn out a little differently, but, you know, we'll get to that. So what's my opponent doing? He's getting his hatchery down. 2 queens, pretty good. Getting a pretty fast lair. And I have not spotted this. He also is getting an evolution chamber. Also very Pretty quick. I guess that's about reasonable when you're throwing down your expansion to get that evolution chamber, especially if you're going for a lot of Zerglings, which he is going to go for. And I'm just continuing to scout. Pretty important to scout constantly. I really want to see what his unit composition is going to be. And you can see here I actually have just enough units to expand. I'm going to make these into warp gates very soon. And, well, I didn't get to see very much. He did kill that probe. He has speed on his Zerglings. I'm still a bit ahead on the probe count. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I've got my sentries. I'm super safe against any kind of Ling attack. So what now I'm vulnerable to right now is a big roach push. And, well, that's about it at the moment. And luckily for me, he does not seem to be going for that. He's actually getting a Spire. So he went for a pretty fast layer into Spire. He has nothing but Zerglings pretty much. This signals Mutalisk and Zergling composition. A Muta-ling is pretty strong. The Mutalisks are pretty much only counterable by Stalkers or Phoenixes, and you get the Zerglings to take care of all the Stalkers. So it's actually a very good, very strong composition. And when I was playing this game, I was absolutely prepared for Roaches and Hydras and going for Colossi. But this build is flexible enough that I can deal with Muta-ling, I think, if I spot it quickly enough. So let's take a look at what I actually do see. I don't see this expansion yet. I haven't really scouted much at all yet. But as soon as this, I'm going to get my Robo Bay soon, and I'll get an Observer. I've actually been thinking lately about, instead of getting an Observer, just going for Hallucination quickly, using a Scouting Phoenix that's hallucinated. And then that would actually signal to me whether I need to get a Robo Bay or if I can just go straight to Templar Tech. But, that's something I'll work on in the future. I do put one cannon here, and that's, to defend against this kind of Ling harassment. And also, if there's a Roach with Burrow attack coming, that's going to give me detection. So this is right around the time where I've stopped my Zealot Sentry production. I'm going straight into Stalkers. Get another gas here, and I'm going to be making my Robo Bay soon? Not yet. Actually, I can afford it right now. Here it goes. So I'm a little late with the Robo Bay. And that's for an Observer first, and then if I do scout, Roach Hydra, I'm going to get Immortals and Colossi, depending on, how much of each I spot. But for now, I'm just adding on Stalkers, and I'm doing pretty well. Chrono boosting upgrades. I want to be pretty much upgrading constantly from that forge. But at this point, this is around the time I should be pushing out a little bit, just sort of poking at the Zerg, clearing these watchtowers, maybe killing creep tumors. But here comes some Mutalisks. And I had seen a bunch of Zerglings. I had pretty much thought I'd be dealing with Mutalisks. And he kills a lot of probes here. I did not react very quickly. And now my units are actually getting bottlenecked a bit going in here. I should have only sent the Stalkers. Everything else was slowing me down quite a lot to get into my base. And, now I'm just having to deal with these mutas, and I have to be defensive. That's one of the big advantages of this Mutalisking style. The Zerg gets to harass and be aggressive, and the Protoss can't really threaten the Zerg too much. The Zerg gets to drone a lot. You can already see he's up at 49 drones to 40 probes, and he's going to be pretty far ahead. He's going to pick off that pylon and get even more drone kills. Actually focusing on the Nexus now. So he is ahead on the worker count. He's very far ahead on income. And again, I'm getting caught in here because I'm mismanaging my army control. And that's something I need to work on. So he's targeting the Nexus, which is a little odd. But, that's thankfully going to save me a few probes. So I'm up to 35. He's actually stopped at 50. He's only producing mutas and Zerglings. And I'm not very far ahead yet. I'm feeling like, okay, I have to be really defensive here. I have to keep making probes but I'm not too bad. And I'm going to send these probes back to mining. So, here is where we have our first issue. I'm, pulling probes off of this base because of the harassment, and I put them back, but I don't put them back on these gas geysers. And you need all the gas you can get when you're going stalkers. And this is going to severely hurt my entire game. And we'll keep track of that as the game goes on. Here I'm going to make a pretty big push. And my reasoning for this push was, okay, he's starting to go mutalisks. He doesn't have enough right now where he can just kill all my stalkers outright. And he's not going to have enough ground units to really deal with a strong push. So I'm going to attack. And it should be a pretty good timing. And in fact, I'm right, he doesn't have that many Zerglings, but if you look at his resources, he could have had so many more that actually this attack could have failed very hard. So fortunately for me, it did go pretty well. Here I am pushing in. I did destroy his third, which is always something you want to deny the Zerg as much as possible. And I should be taking my own third base right about now. So I'm pushing in, and here come his mutalisks, but I actually have a decent number of stalkers here. They're only 1-0. I should be getting armor, actually, before attack for the stalkers. Because the Zergling, or the mutalisks have their bouncing attack, which gets reduced by a lot when you get armor. And he doesn't quite have enough Zerglings to deal with this, and I am going to barely hold this off. But, he's going to be burrowing his spine crawlers, and he's going to be fairly safe. I feel like I should pull back right now. I've killed his third. I've killed all his mutalisks. I should pull back and work on my defenses more. I do have a decent number of cannons, so I'm pretty in a good defensive shape, and I should be pulling back here. But instead, I'm going to be moving in, trying to kill off the Zerg right now, and that's a mistake. And he's going to pull all of his drones, and I just don't have enough units to really deal with that. I'll try and micro a little, but it's not enough. And meanwhile, he has so much money because his macro has been falling behind that he can just replenish everything. My macro has been suffering too, but you can see I still don't have enough gas, and I've been warping in as many stalkers as I can, but I just have to make zealots. I don't have a choice. I don't have the gas for stalkers. So if you look at my unit composition, I've got 3 zealots and 1 stalker. That's just pitiful. Here comes some more gateways, and I want to spend this money as quickly as possible. When you have this much money and you're banking resources like this, you need to focus on just spending it. That should be priority number 1. I have this many minerals. I just need a lot of gateways so I can get that money back down to 0. Now, I did make this Twilight Council, but I think I should be going for armor on this forge before I... well, Blink is really useful. And I do want that quickly, but I don't have enough stalkers for it. And you can see I have to build more zealots. I have so many minerals and so little gas. I'm only on 1 base worth of gas right now, and that's not enough. And here goes my third. A bit late. Again, I should have put that third down while I was making this attack and then pulled back so that I would have some of those stalkers still alive and I could continue to replenish them. And you can see just now how much this gas is necessary when he's going muta-ling. I have all these zealots and not enough stalkers, and I just don't have enough gas for it. But if you look at the resource, the income tab, I actually have 60 harvesters, and the Zerg is not replenishing them. He had to pull drones for my attack, and he did not replenish any of them. He's continuing to make units. So if I pull back here, which I'm doing, if I had guys in these gas geysers, and I was making non-stop stalkers, and this base was slightly earlier, with these gas geysers here also mining, I'd be in pretty good shape. Now, something else I didn't quite realize at the time of this game, and I've been looking into it now, and I think I've got a handle on it, is when you see this muta-ling style, you need to be getting up to High Templar. The reason for this is that Storm is just devastating against Zerglings, and Mutalisks, in fact. And it's difficult for the Zerg to replenish their mutalisks quickly. It takes a lot of gas. If you look at my opponent, he's not that high on the gas, even though he has so many minerals. And it's difficult for the Zerg to replenish mutas when they've been stormed. And the storm also helps control the harassment, forces them to pull back. Now he is going to attack in here, and I have to give my opponent a lot of credit for this creep spread, which is very impressive. He's going to get a lot of drone kills here. I have to pull back and move the stalkers in. But look at how many mutalisks he has right now. He's got 20 to my 9 stalkers. That's not enough stalkers. I'm going to make some more here. So 13 stalkers now. And I decided to just push with these zealots. I don't know if that's a good decision, but I felt like, my stalkers are defending, my zealots aren't doing anything, I'll put them to work. Of course, all he has to do is pull back his mutas and just kill off these zealots. But actually, he's using, this is a great move by my opponent, he's using his mutalisks to engage the zealots, and he's using the zerglings to engage the stalkers, which is exactly what you need to do. I have to warp in these zealots over here to kill off the zerglings. And I did pull back when I saw that happening. My intent was also to force the Zerg to make more units, but of course he hasn't been droning at all. The income tab, I'm way, way ahead. Well, maybe not way ahead, but I'm pretty far ahead. 1,000 to 900. A little bit ahead. Whatever. I've got a lot more workers. And, this creep spread, though, is really hampering my expansion. So you can see, I still don't have guys in this gas geyser. I'm on 2 base worth of gas now, so I can make some amount of stalkers, but I still need a lot of zealots to eat up my minerals here. And it really is hurting me. The food count actually is significantly higher for me, but a lot of that is in the workers. So I have 30 zealots, and I actually outnumber his zerglings, but he has mutalisks. As soon as he kills my stalkers, all those zealots are going to die. So, there's one mistake, not putting guys back in gas after a probe harassment, or a mutalisk harassment on my probe, excuse me, is just really hurting me. I didn't have enough gas for the blink. My upgrades are falling way behind. I only have 1-1 right now. And I just can't deal with it. I don't have enough gas for Templars, certainly. So I do have a decent economy at the moment, just it's not enough. And actually my army was split there. That's another control mistake. I had part of my army up here defending, and then I attacked with half of them. If I had a few more stalkers, I probably could have done more damage to the mutalisks. So already, even though I'm ahead, well, we're about even on resources. I was ahead, but that attack failed miserably. If you look at the unit station, yes, his economy is terrible, but he has a critical mass of mutalisks. And I still don't have enough gas. I've just now put these guys back into mining gas. So what I have to be doing at this point is, well, it's a little too late. I needed those High Templar with Psystorm. I needed more stalkers earlier, and I could have had so many more stalkers right now than I do have. And this is too many mutalisks for me to deal with. There's pretty much nothing I can do. Even though my economy is better, even though I'm ahead on food, even though I've got 73 probes, I should be stopping probe production. I just can't kill this many mutalisks. And so, this game has taught me a few things. It's taught me to be a lot more careful with my probes. I try and blink in and actually engage this. I feel like, well, maybe I can do it, but I can't. He has twice as many mutalisks, and they're doing splash damage. It's too much. And at this point, with all my stalkers dead, I can't win the game. So yeah, it's taught me to be more careful about putting guys back in gas when I'm moving probes around. It's, if I were... initially, I actually thought maybe this 3-gate expand build isn't safe against muta-ling. Maybe I need to do something else blindly to, change my build. no, that's now that I've looked at this game, that's not true. I can actually continue to do this build. It's flexible enough. I just need to get better at scouting earlier and figuring out his unit composition. And I need to be getting High Templar if I see Mutalisks. I really don't get Templar tech against Zerg, and that's something that I probably should change in the future. So that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed watching and learned a little bit about how I lose to Mutalisk and Zergling. Okay,